Hey man, real stay safe shit. You already know what the fuck going on. So we posted, we gotta talk about this crazy shit in the fucking Malu Trevejo fucking Travis Scott saga. It turns out I was wrong as fuck the first time I reported this situation. So a couple weeks back, maybe like a week back, there was like a whole thing happening with the industry where people were going crazy because Travis Scott, basically it was announced that Travis Scott signed Malu Trevejo, and then I made a video saying that she got fake signed because as soon as she got signed, his fucking manager, young Larry David, basically went to these different media outlets that reported this news and said, nah bro, this shit cat, delete that, it's not true. So then niggas were like, what the fuck? So everyone was like, this is fake. So then it turns out Malu actually speaks out on this, and she basically says, I think it's either one or two things. She either got dropped or she got fucking she had one track that was released under it, and it was just a distribution deal for one track maybe to see how it is. Because basically she went through a lengthy like Instagram story thing where she opened up about it, said that Travis Scott talked to her for 2 hours, had a long conversation, said he believed in her, she was like crying and shit, and then like I guess after this conversation, or maybe this was when he was dropping her, he was like, yeah, nah, she cut. So it's either one of two things, because she actually shows like the contract in it and in her story, and she basically explains how she had an actual contract, and it shows that it was distributed through Cactus and Atlantic partnership. So I actually am under the belief that it's more likely that they just did a one-track distribution deal, and she was fried and thought that she was fucking getting like actually signed. Because I don't really understand why you would sign someone and then drop them just based off of like the fact that the public, like all his fans and shit, and his image was going bad. But it wasn't really like that many niggas that were hating on her for real. Like it was some people hating, but these niggas gonna hate on whatever. Honestly, her music is pretty good, so it's kind of crazy that it even got to that point. But personally, I think that it was just a distribution through one, and then she didn't really know anything about the music shit. She's signed to like 3 different labels, so she didn't really understand that like you could distribute just one track, because it wouldn't make sense for this nigga to sign her and then drop her immediately. Like that's like too quick, you feel me? Like why would you sign someone, build them up, put money behind them, and then drop them right after? Like you wouldn't at least want to do like one track to see how it goes? It seems like the more smart decision would be to do distribute one track, and a distribution deal is basically getting it on platforms like Spotify, Apple Music, sort of like a record label would, but then like putting it on like playlists, billboards, like tapping in with Spotify because they probably have a better relationship with Spotify than her. Use her fan base as leverage and basically like push that shit. So I feel like you don't have to necessarily do that with like hella tracks. You can do that with one track. Like you don't have to necessarily sign someone for a whole album or a series of albums nowadays. People be doing like artist friendly deals where they distribute one track, this nigga promotes it and everything, and then that's it. But like I feel like that is more likely than saying that she got dropped, because if she got dropped, like that is like a huge waste of time and money. Like I don't, and it's like it's just confusing. Why the fuck would it? I don't know though, but maybe she did get dropped, because why the fuck would his manager just like, unless maybe he did change his mind and his manager reached out to these outlets like right away, and he this nigga changed his mind like immediately or some shit. Maybe now that I'm thinking about it, I think it's more likely that she was signed for one song for distribution, and then she basically, after she was signed for one track, she thought she was signed to the label. That's why he was going out of his way saying, nah, that's cap. Because it's not, you're not really signed to the label if you're getting a distribution deal. Yes, you have a partnership with the label, but it's not the same thing as being like signed to a whole recording contract and shit. But basically, she goes out of her way and she says, I wouldn't lie about getting signed to anybody. Things just change, and that's okay, because that means something bigger is waiting for me. I don't gotta lie, ask the man himself. How many times he said he believed in me, he wanted to help me. Stop spreading lies. I had a 2-hour conversation with him, crying and hugging him. He knows that. and he knows I ain't lied about anything. At the end of the day, what he told me a lot of times makes me more confident with myself, and I appreciate the time I spent with him. It made me realize that a lot. It was good until it lasted. Still mad love for you, Travis Scott. And a lot of you probably going to be like, you don't gotta explain yourself to the haters. I don't, but I like making sure that I say makes sense, because it makes sense to me and makes sense to them. But I don't want to admit it because I just want to always be clear. I'm very transparent. I like showing everything. I like showing people my bad side, my good side. We all have that sometimes. I should think before saying stuff, but I'm just a crazy person, haha. Anyways, want to thank Atlantic Records for having me in the team. It's about to be crazy. Got so much music coming up that's never stopping. Things started changing when I go back to my religion and I was wearing the Maladites, so whatever is happening to me, it has to happen for a better me. And I'm okay with that because I'm used to things not working at the end. I always see why they didn't work out. And then she posts a contract where she basically shows the recording contract that she had with Travis Scott. So she wasn't capping in that she was really signed. But you can't really get into the details of whether or not it was like, she doesn't really show whether it was an album deal, a single deal. Like, I feel like it was more likely a single deal, and then they didn't really even drop her. Like, they just were distributing it, and they weren't trying to really announce it. They were just trying to distribute it on the low, which is, I mean, like, I feel like kind of fried, because it's like kind of already setting it up for failure, because it's like Cactus Jack is one of the biggest, most premier like labels, and like all they got to do is post something, and all Travis has to do is like co-sign it, and then you're gonna make your money back on that. But I don't know what the fuck changed in the way that niggas were like, nah, we're not associated with her. Maybe it just didn't work out with the Atlantic partnership. There's like a lot of different things that could have happened, but I feel like it was probably a distribution deal. She just didn't know the details of her deal because she's not really into the music business and didn't understand it. Was posting that she was signed to Travis Scott when she wasn't really added to the roster. They were just trying to get a residual investment and shit, just get her to like make money for them on the low. And yeah, that's what I think happened. Or she could have just been signed and then they dropped her right away, because she had like, when she first announced that she got signed, there was mad Travis Scott fans hating on that shit, saying that she sucked, saying all types of shit, saying he was geeking. So maybe they saw the messages on the wall and they were like, yeah man, fuck that, we gotta drop her fast. But it's like, it seemed like they already had dropped her before they even announced it, and then she was just late in saying that and this is a little bit late, like after the fact. But I mean, it's just good to see her career isn't really like fucking up by it, and Atlantic is still co-signing her, so I know she's definitely gonna do well. She got fire music and shit like that. As for Travis Scott, I mean, like, he's just a businessman. He's just trying to make his bread. I guess he realized it wasn't the right time to really announce it, or maybe he just didn't want to go through with it, or maybe the distribution deal was just for one song. So it's gonna be interesting to see what the fuck happens. I know her career's not gonna be like halted by this, but it just looks crazy on her end that these niggas be like changing their minds and shit a second later. But that's just how the music industry is, man. You just gotta make do with what you have. But hey, you already know what the fuck is good, man. Let me know in the comments. You think she was signed? You think she was just a distribution deal? You think she was just confused? I have no fucking idea. But hey, man, real estate say shit. You already know what the fuck going on. We dropping these clothes. It's already out right now in the motherfucking description. We got these face masks dropping right now too. We got all this shit dropping, man. Go tap into that shit. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe. I'm trying to get to 100K followers by next year. You already know. Peace. Real estate say shit. We out.